Episode 1 of his maths teacher. It was a scorching Monday morning at Victory Model College in Acure, Ondo State. The assembly ground buzzed with restless murmurs, mixed with the scent of sweat, dust, and cheap body spray. 17-year-old David Adebayo stood at the back of the line, arms crossed, staring into space. He hated Mondays. But more than that, he hated what came after assembly mathematics class with Mr. Caleb. David had always struggled with numbers. While others found it easy to simplify expressions or solve quadratic equations, to him it was like trying to read Chinese. No matter how hard he tried, the figures danced before his eyes. Mr. Caleb, a man in his early 40s with a permanent frown on his face and a voice like thunder, had been the mathematics teacher for years. He was feared, not respected. He wore oversized trousers, always stained with chalk at the sides, and his leather belt was usually too tight, forming a protruding ring around his belly. He was known for one thing: humiliation. "You're as slow as a snail soaked in Gary," he once barked at David in front of the whole class when he couldn't solve a simple LCM problem. The class had erupted in laughter, and David had felt the shame seep into his soul. It became routine. Mr. Caleb would pick on him, insult him, slap his head, or make him stand outside the class for the entire period. What hurt more was how his classmates laughed, not realizing they were laughing at a young boy losing his confidence, bit by bit. Before we continue, please like, comment, share and follow. At home, David's mother was a petty trader who sold roasted plantains by the roadside, while his father had left when David was just 6. His mother believed in education like it was religion and constantly reminded David that mathematics was the key to his future. "I didn't go to school, David," she'd say while peeling yams at night, "but if you can pass maths and English, you can go to university. You'll be better than me." So David would sit at night with a candle burning and his textbooks open, trying to understand equations that felt like ancient riddles. He tried YouTube tutorials on borrowed data, but even then, the Nigerian accent clashed with foreign ones. Still, he pushed. He prayed. He cried. But nothing seemed to stick. One afternoon, after school, he approached Mr. Caleb outside the staff room. "Sir, please. I want to learn. I don't understand what you teach in class. Can you help me after school?" Mr. Caleb looked at him as if he had insulted his ancestors. "Help you? When you don't even know how to divide fractions? Go and ask your illiterate mother to help you, or better still, go and start selling groundnuts." That day, David didn't eat. He locked himself in the room, stared at the ceiling, and wondered if dying was easier than living. Please click on the follow button before we continue. By second term, things got worse. Mr. Caleb seemed to have made it a personal mission to make David miserable. One day, he told the class that anyone who scored below 40 in the last maths test would be flogged in front of the whole school. David scored 18. During the Friday morning assembly, David's name was called. Mr. Caleb, cane in hand, stood before the school like a judge about to sentence a criminal. David's knees trembled as he stepped forward. "You are a disgrace," Mr. Caleb shouted, raising the cane. The first stroke landed on David's back. The second came harder. By the fourth stroke, the entire school had gone silent. Then something snapped. David dropped to his knees. Not from pain, but from a sudden weakness. His vision blurred. He felt a sharp pain in his chest, then darkness. He fainted. The school went into chaos. He was rushed to a nearby clinic where he was diagnosed with hypertension triggered by prolonged emotional trauma. He was 17. Please like, comment, share and follow before we continue. David's mother raised hell. She stormed the school, threatening to go to the press and Ministry of Education. Other parents who had been quiet about Mr. Caleb's behavior began speaking up. Stories surfaced of humiliation, beatings, verbal abuse, and one girl who had dropped out entirely because Mr. Caleb said girls could never understand maths. An investigation was launched. Mr. Caleb was suspended and later dismissed when more testimonies came in. He protested, claiming students were too soft these days. But the damage was done. David took time off school for therapy and rest. When he resumed, He was assigned a new maths tutor, a gentle, patient corps member named Miss Chioma, who understood his struggle and built his confidence slowly. By the end of SS3, David passed his WEC maths with a C5. Not the best grade in the world, but for a boy who once thought dying was easier than learning maths, it was a victory. Please click on the follow button before we continue. 5 years passed. David was now in the University of Ilorin, studying sociology. One day, he walked into a cyber cafe and saw a man in tattered clothes arguing with the cafe attendant over N300. It was Mr. Caleb. He looked worn out. Life had not been kind. Word had it he had been blacklisted from public schools, and no private school would hire him. His wife had left. His children barely spoke to him. David walked past him without a word, but not without emotion. He didn't smile, he didn't gloat. He simply whispered to himself. Even the best calculators sometimes fail to calculate the cost of cruelty. Moral of the story. Sometimes, the scars we carry aren't physical, they're embedded deep in our minds, inflicted by those who should build us, not break us. Teachers shape lives. But when they use power to destroy rather than guide, they leave behind broken children and a legacy of regret. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share and follow me for episode 2 of His Maths Teacher. Bye for now.